Hello and welcome to Wolfman Gaming. This is my Uncharted 2 Crushing Difficulty walkthrough, and this is chapter 3, also known as Borneo. And we have teamed up with Sully and Chloe because it appears that Flynn double-crossed Chloe as well. And we're going into Lazarevich camp to find out what he knows about Shambhala or Shangri-La, as it's more commonly known. And here is something that will happen to you at times in these games when you clip on your AI companion. And that is something that I think is very irritating, and that they should really work on that in these games. Because when you're forced to have a companion with you and they get in your way, sometimes they can do that in the middle of combat, and that will get you killed at times at higher difficulties. But I want to take some time and talk about how they changed combat in this game from the first one, because as you may know, they have taken away the brutal combo to get more ammo from enemies. Instead, they have put in the stealth takedown bonus system. I have no idea if that is what it's called, but that's what I call it. Because sometimes when you take down an enemy stealthily, you see a little helmet icon over the thing you can pick up. And that is that you get a bonus for doing a stealth takedown on them. So you will get a better weapon, or you may get a grenade, or some extra ammo, or something like that. So that is something that is really good to know and good to use in this game, because stealth in this game can at times be very rewarding. And very fun as well. It works pretty good in most instances. It doesn't work all the time, but whenever you can do it, use it. Because it will make things a lot easier. And also all the long-barreled weapons, I think you can zoom in at least a little bit with all of them. I'm not quite sure about the AK, but all the other long barrel weapons, I think you can zoom in at least a little bit. And blind firing in this game is something that I use a lot. It's a bit overpowered, to say the least. Or actually, it's extremely overpowered in this game. They changed it. They cranked it down from 11 in the third instance, or in the third installment. Which is a good thing, because you can more or less get through a lot of combat a lot of combat sequences using almost only blind fire if you want to. And going over to the last part of the new things in the combat system, my favorite part actually is the grenades, because they have changed how they work too. And before I get into that, I just want to say where I'm gonna stand here for a few seconds looking like an idiot. After you push down this rock and move over to that log lying over the little chasm or whatever it's called, as soon as you get up on that, you're gonna spawn in, I think it's 2 or 3 enemies, so immediately run back. But the grenades in this game. Enemies love throwing grenades. They do it very often, they do it with great precision, but when they are about to do it, they always telegraph it. Their animation for throwing a grenade is really slow, it's very obvious, and that is something you can exploit to make the battle so much easier in this game, and so much more fun. Because as they almost always throw grenades, or try to throw grenades, you can just put a quick shot in them, watch the grenade fall, and you know in the first game they were experts at dodging them. Well, they aren't anymore. The enemies in this game, they missed the memo for the class in grenade dodging, so what they will usually do is just take one step, try and hit the ground, and die. If you're unlucky, they may get away from it. It doesn't have a very big blast radius, but they are in abundance, so you can use them a lot. And there is a special dynamic to the grenades in this game as well, because the enemies can be very clumsy when they throw them. Because if you throw a grenade at an enemy, he will die. If you shoot an enemy as he attempts to throw a grenade, he will die. But if he throws a grenade straight into a wall and it lands right next to his feet, he will not die. And that, I think, is absolutely amazing. It's as good as that transition was bad. Sorry for that. There was a short cutscene there, and that's where you start off when the cutscene ends. Oh my god, that was terrible. But anyway, as I said, if he throws a grenade into a wall, just pure AI clumsiness, he will not die from it. It will make a substantially smaller amount of damage. And that was maybe not the most correct English I've ever spoken, but I get my point across at least. So use the grenades to your advantage. As you will see in these videos, they love telegraphing when they're gonna throw them. I think this guy is gonna do it, and I shoot him so the grenade falls right next to him. Yep, there he goes. And you see how terrible he was at dodging. They usually they do one step, try to duck down, and the grenade will take them out. And this fight consists of several waves of enemies. You saw those first 4 guys, was it, when I came in? The very second you jump off this platform, you're gonna spawn in the second wave. I think it's 4 waves of enemies. But they are not overly aggressive. They will mostly just stay back, and this is a great piece of cover to hide behind. Because if one of them manages to advance onto this platform, you can just blind fire and put them to sleep immediately. And those, I think, are the only 2 guys that try to advance forward. So I'm gonna push up a little bit. See those guys standing over there? And I'm gonna move over to the other side and pick up a West 44, which is a great weapon. You gotta love the magnums in these games. The West 44 and the Desert, what is called Desert 5, I think. They are beasts. As long as there's not a heavy armor enemy, they will take him out immediately. And now you're gonna see a little transition right there, because I advanced up to that little wooden wall in front of me and got murked. So stay far back in this fight, because none of the enemies will go advance as far as up to this point. They will go up to that wall, but even if they try to go up further, they will not be able to get you here, because they can't flank you. You have your sides covered, and they can't do anything except for just standing there and taking the punishment. As Mr. Heavy Guy tries to throw a grenade, and I put a Desert Eagle in him, and down he goes. Also, these generators are great. As you saw, they explode with quite a big blast. So use that to take them down. Whenever enemies are close to them, go for them. Or if there are gas tanks or something, always great. Use the environment. And I exposed myself to danger quite long there, because I know I have a magnum. If I can just line up my shot, he won't have a chance. Down goes the other heavy. Tried to throw a grenade. I'm not having it. And now I think we just have these 2 guys left. And just as in the first game, if they throw a grenade at you and it lands behind a wall, you are completely safe. It will not hurt you at all. But the enemies in this game, especially in some instances, there is one chapter coming up later where they are godlike at throwing grenades. They can be in a different area code and put it right between your feet. It's insane, especially in that fight. think it's in chapter 20 or chapter 22 or something, because you are at a really bad position and there's not much cover. They will try to advance on you and they will throw grenades like it's nobody's business. But now we're taking out all the enemies and now we just have to arm the 4 bombs that will crevate. Someone please explain to me what crevate means. They will create a distraction for Lazarovich and his men, so we can hopefully sneak into his camp and get the information that we need. And now I'm gonna mess up a little bit. The last bomb is to my right, but for some reason I thought that there were only 3 bombs, even though there is an icon up in the right corner that says that I have armed 3 out of 4 bombs. So I run over here like an idiot, and then I realize, oh wait, there must be 1 left. And as I'm looking for it, I take some time to run around and see if I can find any better weapons. Or also I'm trying to climb a vertical wall, apparently. But then I realized, no, there's 1 bomb left. And I saw it just by chance over there. I saw the blinking little green light. And now it is armed and we can move on. We can move on, mate. And Sully once again gets in the way. I think in The Last of Us they had programmed that quite well. You could clip on Ellie, but she was quite good at getting out of your way, most of the time at least. But in an almost 10-year-old game, I think this came out in 2008, 2009. I guess that's some things you're just gonna have to deal with. But now we are going into the last fight of this chapter, and we're gonna go fisticuffs with some soldiers. We end up in this little lake and we face off against 3 guys, and this is to teach you how to fight properly. And you hit them by pressing square, and you dodge their attacks by pressing triangle. And at least in this fight you get key prompts for it. You will not be getting that later on in the game, I think. But it's quite easy. There are 3 guys and you're gonna see this little cutscene, and one of them tries to sucker punch Sully, so he throws him into the water. Run up, do a drop kick WrestleMania style in his chest, and that's it. And we have gotten through chapter 3. So I wanna thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again in my next video. So until next time, this is the Wolfman signing off.